Hello, and welcome back. So arrays are one of the most important and commonly used data structures within computer science programming. And we already know the basics of creating arrays and getting data into and out of arrays, but now it's time to learn about several different algorithms that we can use for working with arrays in more detail. Now, in this lesson, we're going to start with searching an array. Let's start by creating a new class. I'm going to give this a name of Array Searcher. That's with a capital A for array and a capital S for searcher. And let's put this into our Intro to CS package. Then I'll put this into a new package named Array Algorithms. Let's also make sure to check the checkbox here to create our main method, and we'll hit finish. Now inside of our main method, let's change the comment here to say searching arrays. And let's now actually create a new method that we can use to conduct the search with. Let's set its access specifier. I'm going to set mine to be public. I'm also going to make this method static. That way we can use the method inside of our main method above without having to create an object. So this method is going to be returning either the index position of the value that we're searching for, or it'll just return a -1 if no match was found. So this method's going to need to have an integer return type. And now for this example, I'm going to be showing you how to search through an array of strings. So I'm going to give the method a name of string searcher using camel case. This method's also going to need to accept two parameters. The first one will be the array that we're going to search through. So we'll set its type to be an array of strings. And I'm just going to give this a name of R. That's just short for array. This will also need a second parameter, which is going to be the string value that we're searching for. So we'll give this a type of string, and I'm going to give it a name of val, short for value. Now to search for a specific value to see if it exists within our array, we can use a for loop to loop over the entire array and then compare each element to the value that we're looking for. If we get a match, we'll return the for loop's I variable, which is the current index of the value that we're looking for. Otherwise, we return -1. So to do this, I'm going to create an integer variable named match, which will initially hold a default value of -1, just in case we don't find a match. But if we do find a match, we'll be able to give this variable a new value, which will be the index position of where we can locate the match within the array. This way, when we call our string searcher method here, if it returns back a -1, we know that there was no match found. Otherwise, we did find a match, and we'll know that the integer that's returned points to an index position within our array, and we'll be able to use that to grab the value that we're searching for. Let's now create our for loop to loop over the array. Let's set the I variable equal to 0. We'll set the condition to be while I is less than the R parameter variable's length. That's the array that we're searching through. And then we'll just increment I. And now inside of our loop, we can use an if statement to compare each element of the array to the value that we're searching for. Let's create our if statement, and then we can use our R parameter array, and we'll just pass in the I variable as the index to search each element within the array. And since we know that this is an array of strings, we'll be able to use the equals ignore case method to compare the element to the value that we're searching for using our val parameter variable. Now, if we did find a match, let's store that I variable's value into our match variable from above. So remember, I will be the index position of where we can find our match within the array. Now, after storing the index into our variable, we need to make sure to stop the loop from executing, as we don't need it to keep looping if we already found our match. We can do this by using the break statement, like we learned about in the first Java 101 course when working with the switch statement, and that'll stop the loop from executing. Now, outside of our for loop, we just need to return our match variable, and this will return either -1 if no result was found, or it's going to return the index position of where our match is located within the array. And that's it for our string searcher method. Let's now try it out up here in our main method. So we're going to need an array to work with. Let's create an array of strings. I'm going to name this toys. And let's just use the curly bracket syntax for filling our array. So mine's going to hold a bike, and then how about a pogo stick, and a yo-yo, and lastly, how about an action figure? There we go, so there's our array. And now we can call our string searcher method, and we just need to pass in the array that we're wanting to search through. That would be our toys array, which we just created. And then we'll pass in the second parameter, which is the value that we're wanting to search for. I'm just going to pass in a string, and let's search for the yo-yo. Now remember, our string searcher method returns an integer, and we're going to need that value to know whether or not we found a match. So let's make sure to store this into a variable. And I'm just going to give it a name of result, since it's holding our search result. And now that we have our result, we can use this inside of an if statement to see if our search found a match. So let's create an if statement here, and let's check if the result equals -1. If result does equal -1, that means no match was found. So let's use system.out.println, and we'll just print out a message here saying no match found. And then let's use an else statement, meaning that if result is anything other than -1, we know that a match was found, and that the integer value stored inside of result is the index position of where we can find our match within the toys array. So let's use system.out.println, and let's just print out a message showing the result by grabbing it from our toys array. I'm just going to create a string here saying result with a colon and a space, and then we'll just concatenate on the actual result. So we can use our toys array, and we'll use the result variable as the index. And that will print out the matched value from our search. So that's all there is to searching through an array. Let's give this a try. I'll save the file, and let's run the program. And great, we can see that we get our result, and it prints out the matched value of yo-yo. Let's now try searching for a value that does not exist within our array. So let's just change our second argument here. Let's try searching for the word crayons. We'll save the file, and let's run the program again. And perfect, you can see it says no match found. Now, the awesome thing about algorithms is that they can be used to solve numerous different problems using the same steps. So you could easily convert this string searcher method to search through an array of integers instead. You could do this just by changing the types of our parameters. You'd change the array and the value to use integer types. And then inside of the if statement, you would use the equals to operator, the double equal signs, to compare the two values, instead of using the equals ignore case that we used here for strings. But I'll leave that up to you to practice as an additional exercise. Next up, we're going to learn how to delete elements from an array, but that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next lesson.